Okay, so this is extension 5.2, graphing proportional relationships. So it says recall that you can graph the values from a ratio table. So they give us a table here and they mark time as x and height as y. So the first point that we can graph in xy ordered pair is 3, 2. So we go to 3 on the x-axis, which is the horizontal bottom along the bottom axis, go to the 3, and we go up to the 2, because that's the y-axis, goes vertically. So we go to where 3, 2 is, and we put a dot. Then we go to the next point, which would be 6, 4, and then 9, 6, and then 12, 8. And we put a dot at each of those points. Then we draw a line that goes straight through all of those dots. If one of the dots doesn't fall in the line, then we've done something wrong. The structure in the ratio table shows why the graph has a constant rate of change. You can use the constant rate of change to show that the graph passes through the origin. The graph of every proportional relationship is a line through the origin. Remember, the origin is 0, 0. So you can see if we draw this line back towards 0, 0, it does go straight through 0, 0, which means that it's a proportional relationship. Determining whether two quantities are proportional. So we're going to use a graph to tell whether x and y are in a proportional relationship. We're going to do exactly what we did in the previous problem. We're going to take this table, x, y values, and we're going to plot the points. So for that blue table, we have the points 2, 6, 4, 8, and 6, 10. Remember, the x value always comes first, and that's the number where we go along the x-axis along the bottom. So we put the points on there, 2, 6, 4, 8, and 6, 10, and we draw our line that goes through those points, and we extend it back toward the origin, and we see this doesn't go through the origin. In fact, it passes through where y is 4. So, because it does not go through the origin, we say x and y are not in a proportional relationship. Now we look at the red graph, and we get 3 points to plot here. Points 1, 2, 2, 4, and 3, 6. If we put a dot on each of those points, and we draw our line going back toward the origin, remember that's where 0, 0 is on this graph, we go right through the origin, if we plotted the points well. And that lets us know that x and y are in a proportional relationship. If the graph of the line goes through the origin, then it's a proportional relationship. And if they don't, it ain't. Here are 2 problems to do on your own. You're going to want to use graph paper. If you have graph paper, great. I put some graph paper in the materials here so you can print it off, or you can just Google graph paper and print some off. If you're going to try to draw your own graph in order to graph these, you're going to want to use a ruler, a nice sharp pencil, and make nice straight lines. Well, the next thing we can do is we can interpret the graph of a proportional relationship. And that means find some information from the graph that we're given. In this case, the graph shows that the distance traveled by the Mars rover Curiosity is proportional to the time traveled. Interpret each plotted point on the graph. Well, they've plotted 3 points. The first one is at 0, 0. The next one is at 1, 1.5. And finally, there's one at 3, 4.5. The first thing we need to know, remember, is that the first number goes along with the x-axis. So it gets the x units down by the x-axis. And then the second number, the y coordinate, gets the y-axis and the y units. For the first point, it doesn't really matter because they're both 0. 0 seconds, or 0 inches, that goes on top, over 0 seconds. So it means the rover traveled 0 inches in 0 seconds. The next point, we say the rover traveled 1.5 inches per 1 second. And finally, we have the third point, the rover traveled 4.5 inches in 3 seconds. Okay, so the second number in the ordered pair is the y coordinate. We say that one first, and we say it with the y units. So 4.5 inches over the x coordinate, in this case 3, along with the x units. So it's 4.5 inches over 3 seconds. The study tip on the side says, in the graph of a proportional relationship, you can find the unit rate from the point 1, y. So if we just go down to where the x is 1, and we follow that up to the graph, we would get 1.5 inches per 1 second, which is the unit rate, because it has a 1 in the denominator. Here are 2 problems to do on your own. For each of these, you're supposed to interpret each plotted point. Each graph has 3 plotted points. Remember, you say the y coordinate first with the y units over the x coordinate with the x units.